Lights flash, and crowds gather as cameras roll. But this is not one premiere night. This is 20 cities activating at the same time. 20 red carpets, synchronized, one carefully engineered cultural moment designed to feel historic before the audience even takes their seats. The documentary, titled Melania, is not just launching a film, it is staging an event meant to dominate attention from the first frame, backed by a reported $40 million acquisition deal and released in a coast-to-coast debut. This is not how political documentaries normally behave. This is how power manages narrative. And once you understand the architecture behind this release, it becomes impossible to unsee what is actually happening. The story does not begin in Hollywood. It begins inside the White House. Before trailers flooded screens or tickets went on sale, the film debuted in an invitation-only private screening in the East Room. 70 guests were selected carefully, not randomly. Corporate leaders, global figures, and cultural influencers filled the room. This was a space where every conversation carried consequence. The East Room was transformed into a luxury theater with a custom screen, formal attire, and carefully controlled optics. Before the public saw a single frame, the message was clear. This documentary would not be released quietly. It would be unveiled like a declaration. The rollout escalates dramatically from there. On Thursday, January 29, 2026, the film premieres simultaneously in 20 venues across the United States, from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, from New York to Atlanta, Houston, Chicago, and beyond. The lights go down at the same hour. The central event anchors itself at the Kennedy Center, a location heavy with political legacy and cultural authority. Every other city becomes a satellite stage in a synchronized national spectacle. Logistically, it is impressive. Strategically, it is brilliant. This is not how documentaries launch. This is how blockbusters do. That explains why Amazon MGM Studios reportedly paid $40 million for distribution rights. That price point places the project far outside traditional documentary territory. It enters the realm of prestige cinema. Amazon is not treating this as a niche political biography. Marketing has already gone global. Trailers have appeared on massive digital displays in Las Vegas and London. International billboards have rolled out across dozens of markets. These placements are typically reserved for the studio's highest-profile theatrical releases. The message is unmistakable. This is not a side project. This is a flagship product. The film itself promises something audiences have long speculated about but rarely seen. Direct behind-the-scenes access to Melania and Trump during the tense transition period leading into the January 2026 inauguration. Cameras reportedly follow her through private meetings, preparation sessions, and critical decision-making moments. Viewers see protocol discussions, wardrobe selection, messaging conversations, and strategy meetings. She is not framed as a background figure. She is presented as an active participant. Trailers suggest a portrayal that is calm, controlled, and deliberate. The Melanian on screen is not mystery. It is authorship that leads to the central truth of this project. Melania is not simply the subject of the documentary. She is one of its architects. Through her production company, Muse Films, she maintained close involvement in shaping the narrative. The company's name itself references her former Secret Service code name. This is an authorized portrait in the purest sense. It is not investigative. It is not adversarial. It is intentional legacy construction. When a public figure controls how history records them, the implications are massive. Very few First Ladies have attempted anything like this. Fewer still, while remaining politically adjacent. This is not a memoir written after retirement. This is reputation design happening in real time. Perception is being shaped while it is still fluid. The campaign extends beyond film culture into institutional symbolism. One day before the nationwide premiere, Melania is scheduled to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. This is not standard promotional behavior for a documentary. It is economic symbolism. The film is framed not only as art, but as a serious cultural commodity, one worthy of Wall Street's attention. Criticism arrived quickly alongside praise. Political figures questioned the optics of a White House screening tied to a commercial release. The concern centers on blurred lines between governance, celebrity, and commerce. The production team insists the film is personal, not political. But, in an environment driven by perception, neutrality itself becomes strategy. That tension may be the film's greatest fuel. Controversy generates conversation. Ambiguity sustains attention. A release of this scale ensures discussion before content is even evaluated. Social media will ignite as 20 red carpets unfold simultaneously. News coverage multiplies across regions. Commentary becomes unavoidable. This premiere is not just about viewership. It is about saturation. After the synchronized debut, the film enters full theatrical release on Friday, January 30th. It opens nationwide and internationally in standard cinemas. The insistence on theatrical experience is deliberate. It frames the documentary as cinema, not content. It demands immersion and commitment. Only later, in mid-2026, will it move to streaming platforms. That second phase extends the film's lifespan long after premiere buzz fades. The strategy mirrors major studio releases: event first, longevity second. How audiences interpret the film remains uncertain. Some will see intimacy, others will see image management. But no recent documentary has arrived with this level of orchestration. The release itself becomes a statement about influence and control. What happens next will determine how the project is remembered. When lights dim across 20 cities simultaneously, the strategy has already succeeded. The country will be watching together. The conversation will be unavoidable. And the moment will already belong to the film. That is the story behind a premiere unlike any other. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective, share it with someone who enjoys stories beneath the surface. For more deep dives into power, narrative, and culture behind closed doors, subscribe and stay connected.